Hello, today we will be learning all about how to operate and maintain the Dora brazing machine. The purpose of the Dora brazing machine is to reduce the possibility of defects in the brazing process by allowing one operator to produce many parts virtually free of error when the machine is set up and operating correctly. When operating, first the machine automatically applies an alloy paste onto a brass fitting that has a certain number of tubes inserted into it. This paste contains the filler metal and flux needed to bind the two base metals when heated. The fitting and tubes with the paste are then placed onto a larger tube assembly. Next, the machine uses gas and compressed air from multiple burners to heat the joint evenly. After the joint has been heated, the part will slowly be cooled with air to allow the brazing to set before finally spraying the part with water to further cool it and finish the process. Finished parts coming out of the brazing machine will be hot, so make sure you are using gloves or tools whenever handling parts from the machine. Explosive fumes can build up if the gas is left on without the burners lit, so light the burner soon after turning the gas on, and turn the gas off when done operating to prevent fumes in the area. Always be cautious of the moving parts of the brazing machine, making sure the machine is powered off before adjusting any parts or performing any maintenance, and wear eye protection in case metal parts are ejected from the machine. Now we will learn how to start the Dora brazing machine. Begin by turning on the external gas supply near the back of the machine by turning the valve to the parallel position. The air supply is on a direct line and can be left alone unless there is a leak in the air line. If there is, contact maintenance for help. Start the water pump for the cooling pan by turning on the water by switching the valve to the parallel position and then pressing the pump switch to the on position. Turn on the power by hitting the power switch found here underneath the machine. Turn the pressure to the paste buckets off by turning the valves connected to the air lines on top of the paste bucket to the perpendicular position. Then release the pressure from the lines to the paste buckets by turning the painted valve behind the guns 90 degrees, and then remove the cover. Stir the paste and add any more if necessary, being careful not to create air bubbles in the reservoir while stirring. Ask your lead for more paste as needed. This brazing machine uses custom-made jigs for each type of tube assembly being produced. Adjust and tighten the appropriate jigs for holding the tube assemblies, thus ensuring the flame will be properly distributed when heating the metal. A large reason for having the water operating within the machine has to do not only with the parts being heated and cooled, but also with how the tube fixtures heat and cool, therefore expanding and contracting during the brazing process. When you are processing only about 50 parts, the water is not necessary to cool the fixtures, and you only need to use the water in the cooling pan to cool the parts. However, if you are processing around 100 or more parts non-stop, the water is necessary to keep the jigs cool, in order to be sure all the parts are being processed in the same position. This is the control panel for the brazing machine. The green light is lit when the machine is energized. First, check to see if the emergency stop button has been pressed. Pull it out to be sure it is not engaged. Next, hit the green control on button to energize the machine. Then press the cycle stop button to reset the machine. Use the green cycle start button when you are ready to begin processing parts. The yellow button here is used to cycle the machine manually if needed. Now, walk to the back side of the machine and open the access door. Press the heat on button on the panel to the left. This will turn on the gas. Light the burners using the torch kept with the machine. As an added safety feature, the burners will turn off if the machine has not been started within 5 minutes of pressing the heat on button. Then return to the front side of the machine. Set the location of your paste guns according to the size of the parts to be joined. The gun should be at a distance of 2/3 of the diameter of the nozzle tip away from the part. The size of the tip depends on the inside diameter of the part you are brazing. Red Dot uses a 7/100 of an inch size tip for the copper distributor tubes and an 8.6 of an inch size tip for the bottom of the brass distributor. To adjust the gun position, release the pressure on the painted valve behind the guns by turning it 90 degrees. Then loosen the painted set screws on the paste guns and move them into position. Retighten the set screws when you are done and return the valve to its original position. The paste pressure also affects how the paste will be spread. The paste pressure has a factory setting of 15 psi for the tubes and 12 psi for the distributor paste gun. But depending if the paste stripe is not being added evenly, you can adjust the paste pressure in each reservoir separately. Or if the paste is not being applied around the entire fitting, you can adjust the paste delay and paste retract delay using the control panel. To set times using the control panel, press the number 2 from the main menu screen, enter the desired time, and press the return button in the bottom right corner. The dwell time seen here is the time the machine will wait in between steps to rotate the part to the next step in the process. Smaller distributors take about 27 seconds to cycle, while larger distributors take about 35 seconds. You can also adjust the timers on individual steps, like the air and water cooling times, using this same method. Use the menu button to return to the original display screen. Use of the cooling water changes the dwell time. Without cooling water, the fixtures get hotter and hotter the longer you run the part, and you may have to keep adjusting the dwell time to keep things from overheating. Cooling water keeps the tooling a consistent temperature, so the parts are heated consistently. The nozzle size and the stroke adjustment screw on the back of the guns control the flow of the paste. Keep the stroke short to help avoid a big blob of paste at the end of the paste application cycle. The flow valve on the air lines to the paste guns also needs to be adjusted to allow gradual closing of the gun to avoid a big blob of paste at the end of the paste application. Now we can begin operation of the brazing machine. Place the brass fitting into the distributor mandrel. This will spin the distributor at a set speed to allow the paste alloy to be spread evenly by the guns. Place the required amount of tubes into the distributor assembly. Using your left and right hands, press one finger onto both the left and right black button pads to begin that rotation and apply the paste. While the paste is being applied, place the larger tube assembly into the jig within the machine. Once the paste has been applied, check that it has been spread evenly across the distributor assembly. If it is not, adjust the guns again so the paste is applied evenly across the joints. If you already have parts on the machine, remove the finished part from the jig and verify the brazing has been done correctly by visually checking the joints and sending water through the part to check for proper flow. If the part has not been brazed correctly, adjust either the location of the paste guns or the jig holding the tube assembly to be sure the parts are being heated properly by the burners, or refer to the troubleshooting section for more information on specific issues. Every few minutes, or every 5 or 10 parts, use the running water in the cooling pan to cool the parts. Now, repeat this process for every part until the order is complete. If the cycle time is too fast for you as a new operator, press the cycle stop button to reset the machine. Then manually rotate the machine using the yellow button on the control panel until you are confident in your skills. Every time you are finished working, you will have to shut down the DoraBrazing machine. Stop loading new parts onto the machine while it continues to rotate, and finish the parts you have already installed. When you have recovered all of the finished parts from the machine for that work order, press the cycle stop button to stop the machine's rotations. Then, turn off the power switch underneath the unit. Walk back around the machine and press the heat off button. Turn off the gas by returning the valve to the perpendicular position. Do the same with the cooling pan, turning off the valve and pump switch. And close the access door when you are finished. Here are some of the maintenance tasks involved in operating the brazing machine. Proper care and maintenance will ensure the longevity of the machine, so it will continue to provide years of reliable, trouble-free service. The following maintenance should be performed daily after every use of the machine. Wipe off all parts of the machine, paying careful attention to any of the moving parts that can gather dust, dirt, and grime. Clean off any of the paste that may have gotten on any of the parts. A silicone-based lubricant can be used on the slides to keep them moving smoothly. Remove the paste gun nozzles and clean them using water or mineral spirits. This will help to keep the paste strip size consistent. Purge the paste lines of about 1 inch of paste prior to reinstalling the clean nozzles. Stir and fill the paste reservoirs as needed. Make sure to use a soft tool made of wood or plastic to stir the paste, so no random chips will enter the system. Certain maintenance on the brazing machine must be performed every week. Check that the burner tips are working properly. If not, then clean or replace them to make sure the parts are being heated evenly. Drain any water from the bottom of the water cooling pan using the proper drains used for hazardous waste found in the area, or consult your lead on the proper disposal procedure. Before we're done, let's go over some evaluation criteria for the DoraBrazing machine. Know how to properly start up the brazing machine. This includes turning the gas on, the power on, and turning the heat on, as well as lighting the burners. Know how to properly shut down the brazing machine. This includes turning the gas, water, power, and heat off. Know how to adjust the cycle time, heat, and paste on the operator panel. This includes using the operator panel to change certain times for the machine if any troubleshooting is to be done when the machine is not working properly. Know how to process and check the finished parts. This includes placing the parts in the fixtures and operating the machine. To avoid defects, verify the distributor assembly has been brazed properly at the joints. Know how to properly clean and maintain the brazing machine. This includes daily cleaning of the machine and nozzles, stirring and filling the paste reservoirs, and weekly checks of the burner tips and the water system. That's all you need to know to operate and maintain the DoraBrazing machine. If you have any questions, be sure to ask your supervisor or coworkers for guidance, and thank you for your contribution toward making Red Dot a better company.